Alright guys, so I want to give you the rundown on why I'm in desperate need to get my Sundance up and running. I want to explain everything in detail because, you know, I told you I'm struggling, I'm suffering, you know, mentally. And, you know, people, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, you don't know my situation. So I'm going to explain my car situation to you today. So let's look at this car here. So why fix this car when I've got this 2014 Ford Focus sitting in my driveway? Well, I'll tell you this. I bought this car brand new for $12,996 plus $4,000 trade on my other car, which was a Lemon. So why is this car sitting in the driveway not doing anything? Well, if anybody knows anything about the Ford Focus, they had what's called a DPS6 transmission. There was a lot of controversy around it, a lot of lawsuits. Basically, Ford knew that the transmissions were bad. They sold them to people anyways. And I've had the transmission failure on this car 4 times. I had a clutch replaced, 2 shift actuators, an oil seal, the control module, and they did a software flash. This car, after all of that work, cannot accelerate. It is not safe to drive. So that's why it's sitting here in the driveway. So not only did I take a $13,000 loss on this car, I lost $1,500 on it, because I had a bunch of stuff done from last August of 2020 up until June of when this thing broke down of this year. I had a new set of tires put on this car. I had the brakes done, rotors, pads. I put a new coolant reservoir in, and I had a purge valve and a purge solenoid go bad. So I'm out close to $1,500 on this car. I can't sell it to anybody. I can't do it. It wouldn't be right. I couldn't sell it. And if I did, it's not worth anything. There's no value. It's not going to get me another car. So that's why it's sitting here, and I have fought Ford on this for the last 2 years, so have many other people. There is no assistance, there's no help, they will not do anything because it's outside of the warranty period. They have fought this tooth and nail with people. So now that brings me to the Sundance. Okay? You've got to sit here and you've got to think. Both situations are pretty bad. It's like being on an island that's catching on fire, or being surrounded by water that's infested with sharks. You've got to pick one. Both are pretty bad. So I chose to fix the Sundance. The car has low miles. It's easier to fix. It's cheap. And I didn't know what was wrong with it. And like I said, I'm not a mechanic. And even this car has cost me close to $2,000. And part of it is because I don't have reliable transportation. It's not like I can just zip over to the auto parts store and get the things that I need. And it's not like I can get just any mechanic out here. Like I said, I've had 5 people look at the car, 3 different businesses. They couldn't fix it. It ended up costing me money. First shop looked at it, yeah, they said the timing belt was bad, but then they couldn't get somebody out here to actually do the timing belt, which I know you guys have said is a pretty easy job. But since the tires were frozen on at that time, the lugs were frozen, I couldn't even get them off with the you know, little hand tool. So I called the second shop out. They sent somebody out with a little bit more experience, but this guy looks at it, doesn't even bother to see what's going on down below. He wants to push me off to a shop, and he says I may have a crankshaft issue, which entirely wasn't the case. So I pushed them a little bit, and let's rewind back. I forgot I fought with the first company for 2 weeks to get my money back because I spent $150 having the second shop come out. So I mean, it made no sense. So I fought with them. Then I had this guy out. First thing he did is he pulls off my lower steering wheel column cover, which I'm still trying to replace. He gives me a bad diagnosis, and he wants to push me off to a shop. I called Amco up, which is, like I said, there's only 2 shops near my area. Amco and Firestone. So we'll get the Firestone next. So I call Amco up. The guy says he's so busy, he doesn't have time to look at it. So that leaves Firestone. So then I have the car towed over there, and I had one friend at that time, and my one friend had some serious issues of her own. And when the tow truck driver came here, and this was from AAA, he got in the car, he let the car roll down the hill, and I'm assuming that's what happened, and it caused the key to get stuck in the ignition. And, you know, once they got it out to Firestone, they're like, oh, the key's stuck, the key's stuck. So, now let's talk about the Firestone issue. The car was in their facility for a fuel pump diagnosis for 2 weeks. Something that, you know, anybody on the Peabody page could probably get done in 2 or 3 days. You know, you drop the tank, you use a little mallet to, you know, loosen the fuel pump, and you pull the thing out, put it in, pop it back in. No, they had it there for 2 weeks. They said they did all this shit, and then when I got the car back, there's no gas in the car, the battery's dead. I mean, hell, I don't even have a fuel filter on the car. There was a fuel filter there before. There was one before. They didn't put the 2 lug nuts on the rear passenger tire. They left my steering wheel column open. There were oil stains all over the car. It was leaking transmission fluid and oil. They just didn't do shit. And then my trunk still doesn't open. I can't get the trunk to open. And it used to open. It opened before I got it to the shop. So I can't even access my spare tire. Fought with them for 2 weeks. They didn't give a shit. They wanted to offer me $85 for what the cost of the tow was. I'm like, you know, so, and their logic was the car was inoperable. I'm like, it was inoperable because you didn't do the shit right. So then one of the guys on the Peabody page who happened to live in Cholo felt bad for me. He came out, he looked at it, and in less than 30 minutes, he got fuel pumping to the car. It was like a wiring issue at the pump. Did that, car still wouldn't start. Pressure regulator was bad. I put the pressure regulator in the following day. The car started. Ran fine. However, driving it down the street, it would stall. Come to find out, the mechanic that did my timing belt, and I forgot to tell you, the second shop didn't want to do the fuel pump. They wanted to bitch about spider webs and stuff that could have been done. But he came out and he didn't want to do it. And I pointed out that the distributor was loose. I said, could that be an issue? And he says, no. And then you guys said, yeah, that's definitely what's causing your stalling. So put a brand new distributor in, and that fixed the problem. However, I still had some fuel leaks. I still got a key stuck in the car. I still can't put gas in properly. My filler neck is cracked, which somebody said that happens when you drop the tank, so Firestone should have notified me about that. And on top of that, I was driving a car. Fuel filter got damaged because it was dangling down. One of the lines was bad because of the quick connect fitting, which I don't like that Chrysler put on. You have to get a tool that doesn't even exist anymore on. That ended up costing me $200 to get it towed back to my house and for me to fix it. So I hope people can understand why I'm mentally taxed on this. Why I have sat here for the last 3 months, not had a car, not been able to do the things that I need to do.